Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Broyans Farm. I said good morning, but it's actually going on about 2 o'clock. I'm heading over to get the John Deere. We're gonna start planting cabbage. Today's Tuesday, so we were loading all morning for the hometown farmers market. Got that finished up, went for lunch, and now we're gonna start getting ready. You can see Sammy's over there. Got the plants watered, so they should be good because we gotta start pulling these. Everything we're gonna be planting is gonna include cauliflower, cabbage, broccoli, kale, kohlrabi. I don't know if I said that already. And that's just about it. And then whatever space we have left, we usually put some dill in, some green beans, some yellow beans, and maybe some Italian flat beans. Sammy just hooked me up and we're rolling. Sammy's in the greenhouse, watering some of the seed geraniums. It's hard getting other jobs done when it's so hot like this because the greenhouse requires so much attention. Hey, Dave. Yeah, I have one. Dad, Sammy, Dave are gonna start planting. I'm hanging back. I'm gonna work on pulling plants. That way they don't have to stop. The reason we didn't pull onions and we are pulling cabbage is because obviously the cell here is a lot bigger. And sometimes, which let me go over here to a flat. If the flat is full of dirt, the roots will jump from cell to cell and they get stuck together. So then when you're trying to pull these out, they get stuck together, they get stuck in there, and then you're missing a plant in the field. So we eliminate all that problem and just pull them. There's usually like a flat and a half in each tray here, and then it makes it so much easier for them. And so we always start with cauliflower, then we move into cabbage. I'm just finishing up the Savoy right now, which is like a curly leaf cabbage, and then I'm gonna move into like broccoli, kohlrabi, all that kind of stuff, collard greens. And it's going really smooth. The biggest thing is that we just can't lose any tags because we only put one tag in each end of each flat just so we know what it is. And if that falls out and we can't tell from the leaves, then we could be planting the whole wrong variety mixed in with something else. So we try and be careful like that. But these plants are actually pulling out really, really nice, making the job really simple. I'll try and show you here. Like when you can take this and pull out like 6 of them at one time, that's when you know it's good pulling. Sometimes you absolutely fight with it the entire time. And I try and stack it up just a little bit. That way I can get my flat and a half in pretty easily. It's hard to do holding the camera. The onions, as I was saying, are in a lot smaller cell, and it's just a lot easier to pull them out, so we don't. But basically everything else that we grow in these 1206s, we pull first before getting to the field. We grow about 3 or 4 different varieties of cauliflower. We grow about 3 or 4 different varieties of cabbage. Only one variety of kohlrabi, unless actually this year we're growing the green kohlrabi and the red kohlrabi. We grow only, I think, 1 variety of collard greens, and I think about 2 or 3 varieties of the broccoli. And the reason for that is different varieties obviously have a little bit different characteristics. Sometimes you could have a crop failure with the seed or with the plant out in the field, and so it's just kind of better to have a backup than have nothing at all. If one variety dies, then you could lose everything if you only have that one. So we do it for several different reasons, but mostly different varieties come on at different times. You know, it gives us more time. Like I said, just better all the way around. I finished up, then I had to go back over to the greenhouses to help Mom just because she needed some help getting some stuff watered. The only thing that's left here to do yet is the kohlrabi, and they're just heading out for their probably second to last trip. I think they're finishing up the broccoli and then maybe possibly moving on to the kohlrabi. I'm not sure exactly what's going to be going in this entire field. I would assume, just like other years, that's gonna be like the cole crops. There'll be a drive road, and then down in this part will be the zucchini, pickles, cucumbers, beans, all the stuff like that. And then to the left of all that is our first batch of sweet corn. You can see how it's coming up. Looks like it's doing really good. It's actually kind of easier to see when you look at it over a distance. Drive road, and then goes all the way down to the end of that plowed field. Go out here and see how they're making out. The dogs just walk along back and forth all day long till we're done. So how the rows are so perfect is obviously you need a good driver that can drive straight. And what Dave is doing is following a row. My dad makes rows with our corn planter, putting fertilizer in the ground, and that is this right here. So there's a row here, 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 and so on. And so obviously, like I said, you gotta be kind of a good driver, you gotta pay attention, you gotta kind of know what you're doing. And you want to put that planter perfectly in that row. I mean, obviously you can be off to the left or right a little bit, but every little slight turn of the wheel is going to make that row a little bit crooked. Now, like I said, Dave does a really good job, so you don't really see that. But especially having a one row planter, you know, each row has to be perfect, because then again, later on, we're going to be coming back through with our cultivator. And if the rows are too close or too far apart, we're going to be hitting those with the shoe of the cultivator and possibly killing or tilling up that plant, which is exactly what we do not want to do. So straight rows are kind of actually really important. A little bit of a wiggle isn't too bad, but he's almost got these exactly perfect. It's the next day. My mom, dad, Uncle Rick, Pat, and the one worker from Scranton that goes to the farmer's market up there even went down to the hometown farmer's market to help today. And so that left me and Sammy back here on the farm. We got the whole #1 and #2 greenhouses watered, and now we're gonna work on seeding our mid-season cole crops and our first planting of pickles, cukes, and zooks. So Sammy actually, I think, just finished up her first tray and is carrying it into the seed room. Yep, she just placed it right there. And just like before, is putting them in these newer strawberry trays that we got with our strawberry plugs last year. Hopefully with that cone on there, it'll be able to press them to the ground nice. That's what we're hoping anyway. She already did some of the cantaloupe in them about 4 or 5 days ago, something like that. Actually, no, only about 3 days ago. And they're already coming up, as you can see here and here. It's just insanely hot here in the seed room. I don't even know what that says. I think the thermometer is actually maxed out, to be quite honest with you. Yeah, this one says 145. Now that's sitting out in the open on the hot plastic, but still, it's gotta be 120 in here. They're on heat mats, but obviously they don't need that heat right now. At this point, we're just trying to keep as much water on them as possible. That way they don't dry out, and to kind of keep them a little bit cooler along with the fans running. And so they're doing great. And once they come up a little bit better, we'll get them out of here. That way it's not so hot on them. But they do need to be here, especially at night when it gets cooler on that heat mat to help them germinate. And so that's where she's putting them right now. I'm gonna be doing the same thing, except my process is a little bit different. If you've been following along since the beginning of the season when I started in the greenhouse, seeding my 512 seed trays, that's how I'm gonna be doing the cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna be using my bigger seed tray just because the seeds are a little bit bigger. And how it's gonna work is I've got the vacuum, the hose runs right here to my tray. When I turn this on, that creates suction here and will suck my seeds right to every single hole. I will then move it from here, flip it upside down where my seed tray is gonna sit. It'll actually sit right in here like this. I'll flip that upside down, turn the vacuum off, and drop the seeds in. But I'll show you that whole process here in a little bit. To start out, I actually gotta come here to my tag, or my label maker, and I'm actually gonna start out here with kohlrabi. If you can see that, Kohlrabi. And I'm even gonna put the date. So I'll press enter, which is 5/22, print, and I gotta press OK again. It comes out right here. I'll cut it off. Of course it fell onto the ground. And there is my tag right there. And that's what I'll do with every single variety. Sammy's whole process is a little bit more like kind of all physical and manual. Instead of doing 512 seeds at one time, she's placing each one individually by hand. And so putting 3 seeds in like a triangular formation, and the reason for that is, and I say it every single time, is just because if you have all the seeds on top of each other, they may not germinate correctly. And so that gives them the best chance possible. And then she'll go back over top and cover that seed with about a 1/2 inch of the seeding soil, which is what I'm gonna be using. In the bottom here, it's a potting soil, was just kind of a heavier, more thicker with bigger chunks. It's gonna be better to hold together once those roots start forming. Next, I'm gonna do collard greens, which I'll just put collards, make it easy. Which actually, the name of them is Flash. I probably should have put Flash on there. I'll do that with the next tag. Next step for Sammy is, like I said, putting that soil over top. The biggest thing is just making sure when she's feathering it out, she doesn't drag that seed back out of that cell. And that's it right there. Then she'll throw her tag in. That way we know exactly what it is. And it's ready to start growing. Once my tags are made, there's a sticky part on the back side. So you gotta crease it. Get that little tab off of there. And then, if I can grab it, I'll just stick that right fast to my 512 seed tray. And now I'm ready to begin seeding. All right, so now that my flats are tagged, it's time to start filling. Basically, I just kind of run it through my hands. That way there's no big chunks blocking that cell. I kind of want nice fluffy dirt in there. I'll feather it out. Nice and even. Now we're ready to start seeding. So after I get done filling it with dirt, I bring it over here to what I call a dibble board. This is actually just the same flat I'm planting into because my dibble board is a little bit warped. And I'm gonna make about a 1/4 inch impression in that soil. That way the seed has somewhere to sit. And then I can cover that with my vermiculite here in a little bit. Then I'll snap it into my tray holder and I'm ready to begin. Right now I'm working on kohlrabi. So I'll get my kohlrabi seed, which is somewhere in the mix here. Winner, right here. From Rupp Seeds. There's only 100 seeds, so I might need another pack here, I think. Where you went? You're gonna sneeze.
Oh, God bless you.
Thank you. Did you say God bless you?
Huh?
Did you tell me God bless you?
Yeah, did you not hear me?
So now I'll turn the vacuum on. And like I said, I'm running out of seeds. Flip that upside down. Get on top of there. Turn my vacuum off. Then we'll bring it from here, which I think I already have a tray in there, into the seed room. This is called vermiculite, not perlite. Perlite is the little white round balls in the soil. This is kind of like a spongy material. Once it gets wet, it stays wetter a little bit longer than just, you know, regular soil will. And I'll do a light layer over top. I want to cover that seed enough, but not too much or it won't come up through. Basically, I just don't want to see those cells anymore. Any more yet? And the different thing about cole crops versus most everything else is now this won't go in the seed room on the heat mats. It'll come outside just in the regular seed house. Or not seed house, regular greenhouse. This is the seed house we're standing in. Ow.
Oh, jeez. Oopsie.
That's it right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Here we got Miss Stacy. Hi, babe. Hi. Hi. And we got Miss Lil. Hi, little babe. Hello. Aww. They're relaxing.
To finish up the day, Sammy and I came in here to the high tunnel. Sammy's laying on the ground right now. We only had 3 rows to do because we did the 3 middle rows like 5 or 6 days ago. And as you can see, these have grown like crazy to the point where these middle 3 rows now actually need to be tied again. And the tomatoes, since the last time I was in here, about tripled in size. There's 3 just on this plant, and then there's 3 on this one or 2. And probably the same goes for all the rest going down the row. And so anyway, well, Sammy's doing her exercises. This is the last row we need to do for tonight because it's getting pretty late. That's the row we just got done. As you can see, that has 3 strings. This only has 2. And so we're just gonna go down. The nice part is, at least not yet anyway, the tomatoes are not really grown together, so it's still pretty easy weaving. But soon it's gonna get to the point where they get so full, you just gotta be careful when you're weaving. And actually, it'll get to a certain point where we can't even weave no more. We'll just run it straight from pole to pole on the same side instead of trying to make that X through the middle of them, because at that point, you're almost damaging the plant more than you're helping it. But like I said, we've probably still got 2 more ties before we get to that stage yet. But the good news is they're looking really healthy. Big, huge blossoms, which hopefully is going to mean big tomatoes. But we'll see here in about 3 weeks. I told Sammy I'd do the last row, but she said she wanted to get home before dark.
You promised me Rita's.
Yeah, I told her I'd take her for Rita's if she did it. It's not that I can't do it, and it's not that I'm not as fast as Sammy. It's just that...
Let's just admit, Logan, come on.
I don't know. I don't know why it's not my favorite job in the world. But I do like growing tomatoes in the high tunnel. I do like that a lot. And I like setting the whole high tunnel up. I'm just not a big fan of actually stringing them. So we just finished up. That's where I'm calling it a wrap for this video. As always, thank you guys for watching. And always remember, it ain't much, but it's honest work.